Hi, this is Shade Foray with TaxSaleSupport.com. I'm here with Steven Swenson again, and this is one of our Deal of the Week videos where we talk about different tax sales, either ones that are coming up or ones that have already happened. In this case, we're going to be talking about a sale that's actually happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. This is a pre-auction review, and we're going to be talking about the state of Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania can actually have four types of different tax sales, but today we're going to be talking about the upset sale.
Yeah, which it can be a little bit confusing, for investors. I think when you're looking at it, because they do have these different sales. The upset sale. What's important to understand about the upset sale is that it's a type of tax sale that happens before the property's actually been judicially foreclosed on. So in other words, there can still be things attached to the property when, in an upset sale.
Yeah, the upset sale is the first sale that's going to take place on the property, and we'll get a little bit more into the details. It takes place usually in September, and what makes the upset sale unique is, like Shade said, it hasn't gone through a judicial foreclosure, which means any liens, any judgments, any mortgages, any other type of other taxes can still and will attach to the property. So unlike a judicial sale or a normal tax deed, you can still have these liens and judgments that are going to attach to the property.
Yeah, so that's important to note, and makes it just a little bit different from other sales where you need to do additional research, because you're not going to have all of those liens just suddenly wiped out with a foreclosure.
Yeah, now we talked about the other different types of sales. With the private sale, that doesn't happen with all counties, but what that is that's just an over-the-counter of one of these upset sale properties. Now, after it's gone through one of these upset sales, then what happens is it goes through a judicial foreclosure. And that's where it's going to eliminate any liens, judgments, mortgages. So properties that don't get purchased at the upset sale then will go to the judicial sale. And after that, if they're left over the counters are called the repository sale.
Yeah, exactly. So there is, that system there, and that's probably the best way to understand it. After they go through that judicial sale, then they do have things that are, wiped out from them. But at this stage in the process, there are still liens and things to worry about.
Well, and one thing to consider, this is the first time that these properties have gone to auction. So you still are gaining ownership to the property. You could still rent the property out. You could live in the property. But it's any judgments and liens are still going to attach. So you really got to research these properties because they could have a mortgage on there, and it could still be the land or the property could still be collateral for the loan.
Yeah, yep. That's one of the things that makes it different. We also wanted to do a shout out here to some of our YouTube members.
Yeah, exactly. We want to thank all of our YouTube members. We also have, as we mentioned, YouTube membership starting at $2.99. We have 3 different levels. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and check out that and definitely subscribe so that you'll be notified about any of our upcoming videos.
Now, the auction we're looking at is for Berks County, Pennsylvania, and this is an auction that they're actually doing through Bid for Assets. So, they have it listed as their upset sale.
Yeah, this happens on September 29th through 30th. Like Shade said, it's going to be an online auction through Bid for Assets. Now, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to go online and we're going to look at the auction on Bid for Assets and review some of the properties.
All right, so what we're going to do here is we are going to begin from the website here, from Tax Sale Support. And so we're going to go into the list center, into the online auction center.
Yeah, we can see in the auction calendar as well, but for the online auctions, it's usually quicker just to go to the online auctions. Then you'll be able to see any of the online auctions that are coming up. And then we'll scroll down to where we get to Pennsylvania. Down to the P's. There we are, and we can see it's the very first one, Berks County. That'll go ahead and take us to Bid for Assets. Now from here, we can see any of the property details. We can get registered. There's instructions. And then down there below, we have the auction folder, which is going to have a big list. Now, do you know how many properties they had, Shade?
You know what? I would have to probably look at this to even know for sure. It is a lot.
In fact, why don't we show them this list real quick?
So if you log into the service, you can actually download the Excel version of the list, so you don't have to look at them electronically. It's kind of hard because you can't see any details. You have to click on each one at a time. So one of the things that we do is if there's a list that we can download, like an Excel list, we're always going to download that because it gives us the ability to see so much more information. And on top of that, I actually deleted several columns worth of information so that I could see, the main bits of information that were important. So I can see that there's about 1,539 properties, I think is how many are in this auction. It's a huge auction.
Well, and I saw some properties, I think they started $1,000.
Yeah.
And I saw some that, were $1,000 and really was a pretty good piece of land.
Yeah.
Like a $10,000, $12,000 piece of land, 2.5 acres. There is a lot of good properties here, but again, we've got to go through and do the due diligence beforehand, which means we either do a professional title search or what we call and teach our members an investor title search. In fact, we did this, we taught this in our last weekly webinar this week, and how do we go through and research for these other governmental liens ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's something we're going to have to do, or get some type of title search done, because you could buy a property and suddenly, if you've been a little bit competitive and bid up this property, it could have, a lot of additional fees or problems with it.
Yeah. Now, there's quite a bit we can look at, and actually a lot of the properties, I was pretty amazed by just the number of good quality investments that are in this list. So if you start going through these properties, a lot of these are going to look like pretty good or decent investments here. I think just about anywhere that we look. So for instance,
and in fact, really, I probably only looked at maybe, 6-10 properties, but every one was usable.
Yeah. So this opens up at $8,000 is the minimum bid on it. We can see it has a physical address here, and it has an assessed value of $71,000. We can also see the address it has listed here is for Skyline Drive.
One thing as well is we can see that there's a city tax transfer amount down there below, over $3,000, $3,100. So that's something that we're going to take in account, in addition to, I believe it's a 5% fee for bid for assets. It could be 10%.
Yeah.
I was looking at one of the other counties earlier, and it said 5%. But, so there's going to be additional fees on top of it that we're going to need to take into account. And with an upset bid, it's bidding up in price, just like it would any other type of tax deed.
I'm trying to make sure that I find this one correctly, because there's actually... No, that is not the right one here. It is not in Moore's.
Looks like it's in Reading. The one on Skyline?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in Reading.
There we go. Okay, so there we've got the property there, and let's see, and I've got the GIS map up right here, that can verify and make sure that it's telling us, that it's in the, we are looking at the correct property here, and so, that looks correct there, and we could also see here image from 2021. From October of 2020.
Yeah, so really we're looking at an image that's a year old.
Yeah.
At that time, the house looks pretty good from what we can see.
Yeah. Well, and it's obviously being lived in. It looks like a nice little lot here with it.
Well, and one thing to mention, and we mention this all the time, but there's still people that do it, and so we're going to keep mentioning it. Because we don't want you guys to make a mistake, but with any kind of structured property, you've got to get an on-site evaluation done. Now, that might not be able to something you can do yourself. You may have to hire somebody, a handyman, a photographer, somebody like that to go out and take photos. But even though we have a photo that's a year old and it looks good, we cannot trust that. We've got to send somebody out there, even with an upset bid, because you own the property. In fact, just like any other kind of deed. Yeah,
and this property here, so we're looking at an estimated market on it. It's valued at closer to $182,000, and so you can see the $8,000 investment is pretty small compared to what the property's valued at. It'll probably get bid up and who knows what the exact sales price will be, but for a value of nearly $200,000, $8,000 opening bid's pretty low.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and really what we would do if we were interested in buying this property is we would go ahead and take that last owner's name, we would pull up the deed and verify it, and then we would search that last owner's name or the current owner name in the court or the recorder's records to see if there's any type of liens, judgments, mortgages. And usually with tax deed properties, all we're looking for are just the governmental liens. We don't have to worry about mortgages. We don't have to worry about judgments. But with upset bid properties, we've got to research everything.
Yeah. Here is an interesting one, which, actually, let's see. 10577. Oh, hold on here. I clicked on the wrong number here. We need 1057789.
No, probably would have been not bad either.
Yeah, it's true. I think just about all of them. That one had a $13,000.
It's just what's on the deed.
Yeah,
that's the big risk with the a lot of these properties.
It's true. Like for instance, this property right here is a really interesting one. So we've got a $5,000 opening bid. A pretty low opening bid amount. We've got the address there. We've got a total assessed value of $179 on the property here, and we've got the address along with the GIS, and we can also see that that's at nearly $8,000. That's $8,000 for the transfer tax.
Yeah, so we're looking at a $5,000 bid plus the $8,000 transfer tax. As the opening bid, there's a recorder's fee of $82, and then also the bid for assets fee on top of it. But of course, you're buying these properties, and it still is a tax deed. They're still going to give you a deed to the property. So you could go ahead, if the property is vacant, and rent it out. If it's occupied, you can contact who's living in there, find out if they're interested in renting it or buying it, and see if you can work out something with them. If not, have them leave the property and then do whatever you want to it at that point, whether that be rehabbing the property or selling it and letting somebody else come in there and rehab it.
Yeah. In fact, so this is the property that we're looking at right here that has a $5,000 opening bid. If we look at it here, it's a nice property here. It is, I believe, we're looking at this property right here. It's a nice big home. Let's go like this.
That is nice.
Yeah, I mean it's a very nice home. And we go to look at it, and it's got an estimated value of $403,000. A rent estimate of $2,300. For a $5,000 opening bid amount, those are some crazy numbers, and it's nice property.
One thing to look at as well as we're looking at this, this is a big home.
Yeah,
almost 4,000 square feet. We also look, and just to get an idea of what Zillow thinks as far as the estimate range, we can see that this area has gone down by a little bit. $1,800 over the last 30 days or so. So it's really kind of had a big upshoot. But we can see, as far as 2020, what was the beginning, kind of 2020, what was the value at?
It was about $300,000.
$300,000.
So it jumped up about $100,000. But really, it's been, that $300,000 mark, though, it's been a $300,000 property in that range from, really back...
Yeah.
Around 2015.
Well, and that's kind of the point that I'm making is that, this property might go down, but I don't think it may go down at the very most, I would assume, and it would probably take a few years to do that, by $50,000.
Yeah.
So you're not going to ever drop below, 350 if it is what it is.
Yeah, it's never dropping down to 300 again.
Yeah.
No way. It might lose a little bit of value there, but it's going to be pretty strong. I wouldn't be worried about it at all.
No. I mean, there's a huge amount of profit, and depending on what is against the property, we can take that into consideration if there is some judgments and things like that are going to stick, and we're going to include that into our payments so we can determine how high a bid we can go on the property.
Yeah. Now, let's see here. It's like, we're looking for work. I think, here's another interesting one where you've just got a really inexpensive investment opening bid amount, $4,000. Which is really just not a whole lot of money. We've got an address right here. Let's see. So the property actually has an assessed value of $218,000, which is a lot for for a property with an opening bid of $4,000.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I've got the address. I can copy that, and we can pull up the GIS here and get that working here. And then we can also pull up the address of the property.
These online maps have made it so much easier. When me and Shade first got started, we were looking up these plat maps and trying to find locations by using Google Maps. And now, especially for land property that don't have addresses, it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, now here's an interesting property. So you can see that it's a commercial property. It's right on this Benjamin Franklin Highway. You can see that it's actually right next to a couple of hotels, like Econo Lodge and this Rainbow here. And if we get down there to a street level, you can see it is...
It's a gentleman's club.
It is a gentleman's establishment there. It's the Utopia Cabaret, and they are hiring.
Or they were.
They were hiring.
I doubt they're hiring now in 2020.
2022.
22, exactly. I was looking at the date there.
October 2021, they might still be in business.
Well, and if they were, it could be a possible rental situation.
Yeah.
It may be the owner who's doing it, or it very well could be a rental property where they're renting. That's hilarious to me. It's on Benjamin Franklin Highway.
Yeah, well, and it's got to be worth at least $400,000. Based on the other properties we see and how they're valued out. This is a commercial property. With the assessed value it has, the value's got to be at least $400,000, probably closer to $500,000 or above.
Well, and it looks like a property you could easily convert to a lot of different uses.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
It's probably. You probably could be a restaurant.
Yeah, it could probably be just about
space,
anything.
It's got a lot of parking.
Yeah, and a nice big sign up front that you could always,
change out cabaret.
Yeah, that is another interesting property. And really, there's all kinds of interesting properties on this list. I think we have time for one more.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's take a look at. Let's take a look at another one here. So, 105-7785. Let's see. Whoops.
And really, there could be a lot better properties than we're looking at. We just looked at a number of just a few of them.
Yeah, really.
In the first 100, in the first 50, we just randomly picked a few, and that's kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah, 1,500 properties. It is just a crazy number. So here we have this property here, 136 Basket Road. It has an assessed value here of $132,000. Opens up for $13,000 is the opening bid amount, and we can see there's about $6,000 transfer tax here for it. Let's take a look at the GIS, because really that's what's going to tell us the most here on this one. We can also grab that address.
Well, one thing that makes it a little bit difficult is that they're not putting the city in the full address. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll go on to Google Earth, and then we'll put the county, and by doing that, the street name.
Yeah. Well, so basically what we'll do here is like, for instance, on this county, I didn't know what city this was. So I just basically put in the street address, and then I put in Berks County, and it showed, the only other option there was Douglasville, for options with that address in Berks County.
And so if there is 2 addresses or 3 addresses within the county that have that, we can look at them and then compare it to the overhead map and determine, we're at the right location.
Yeah, so this one, it looks like this is 136 Basket Road in Ole. Which that's a way that we can find it here. And, and what we see here is actually, this is an amazing property here.
It's 64 acres.
Yeah, 64 acres. You can see it covers both sides of Basket Road here. So we have it Basket Road here, and you can see that it's basically on this side and on this side of it. And here's, it's a farm essentially, and here's where you have the homestead for the farm, and you can see, it's basically all of this, which actually it looks like a lot of this too has been cleared and is currently being farmed.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's a working farm. And, farmland is selling for a premium right now. It's a great investment. With our students, we've been looking at a bunch of different areas that have farmland coming up. And it really is a great investment, because you can hold on to it by leasing it.
Yeah. In fact, they don't have the a market on this. All they're really showing is just just what the assessed is. But yeah, value on this property is going to be well above where it's at there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, there are tons and tons of properties to look at, and so we want to encourage everybody to go out to the auction there, and if you are going to participate in an upset sale like this, you have to make sure that you've done your homework, because it's not like a tax sale where you've got properties after the foreclosure.
Yeah, please don't just get on there and start bidding. That's the quickest way to lose your money. Do the due diligence beforehand. If you need any additional help, check out our membership program. Download our free ebook. We have a lot of different tools in addition to our YouTube videos that can help you learn what you need to do to prepare for the tax sale.
Yeah. In fact, I think that really, something as simple as our membership program, it's just $39 a month, it can give you a lot of the tools that you need in order to be successful. And if you don't know anything about us, if you haven't downloaded our free ebook yet, you should go to Secrets of Tax Lien Investing, where you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Tax Sale Support if you're interested in our membership. You can also check out our YouTube memberships as well, and then Secrets of Tax Lien to get our free ebook.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching this video.
Appreciate it.